Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, Strigger, and I am, of course, joined by my main man from Tennessee, Dylan. It's good to talk to you again. It's been a while, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we had an interesting run last go around, to say the least.
It's been a while since the last proper episode. A lot has happened in between. My Twitter account was taken away from me live as we were recording the show. In the meantime, lots of other people have been hacked by the same dude, which was pretty entertaining to follow along. If I was part of that, I'm really sorry about that. If you've fallen to the same guy, it became an epidemic, to be quite honest. It's not only was I hacked, but former GHC heavyweight champion Osawa fell victim to the same guy too.
Even Ozawa couldn't dodge this nefarious hacker person.
The biggest troll of them all was trolled.
That's true. But yes, that was an experience that we went through that day recording, and thankfully I kind of came through at the end, and it turned out okay, like on the last episode. But I definitely think this one's going to be a lot better. I will say that for sure. And it's a shame because we were actually kind of cooking on that, like the first 40 minutes or so, however long we talked about O-Pro, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. See, so like we were rolling along good, but that's okay. The train is back on the tracks for this episode, and we actually, like you said, a lot's happened, as it does in the world of Japanese pro wrestling, and it always seems to have something going on, and we have a lot today, so it's going to be a fun time.
We have a lot. Yes, just to connect to the last episode where we talked about Shinjuku Face closing, there's been an announcement by the United Japan Pro Wrestling Organization, Dylan, and I'm someone that makes fun of this organization a lot because they tried a couple of years ago to run shows under the banner and it failed miserably. It's apparently still something that's run in the background, but none of the goals that they have set for this organization have actually come to fruition. Specifically, not the idea of running shows in the same area on the same day. But now they have announced a new show that is going to happen on May 12th in Shinjuku Face. It's called Face the Next. And the participating organizations are New Japan, Big Japan, Noah, DDT, Dragon Gate, Kyushu Pro, Freedoms, Gun Pro, and we don't know if there's anyone else joining at a later date, but it's very interesting to see that All Japan Pro Wrestling is not part of this show, and it's going to be a show at which the younger wrestlers will compete in exchange matches and offer matches. Maybe we get some mixed matches there on this show. That would be interesting to see where the younger talent comes in for Face the Next.
Absolutely. It's funny because if you remember before, I feel like that was another problem though when they did those shows a couple of years ago. They had like two shows, and the second one was main evented by Naito and Jake Lee, and it bombed bad. Actually, the first one also bombed too. The one before, that I think had like a traditional multi-person semi-main. I feel like the All Japan wasn't even involved in that much either, for whatever reason, like during those times. So there, whether it's All Japan, Dragon Gate, they're always on the like weird terms with United Japan.
Yeah, they had the All Together show, and I think All Japan wasn't on the show.
Yeah, wow. I know there was
There's
one even before that where the All Japan was like on the show. They had Kento in the main event or whatever. That was around the time
Yeah,
Muto retired. I feel like, but that was before these shows I'm speaking of.
it was before that. All
Yeah,
Japan was not part of the first United Japan show. It was in Ryogoku on May 6, 2024.
yep. That's exactly right.
Main event was Kaito Kiyomiya, Shota Umino, and Yuki Ueno going over Konosuke Takeshita, Shun Skywalker, and Yuya Uemura.
What a show! Like what a main event that was.
Yes.
It's funny because I remember, like I said, these shows had like a lot of people were talking about it and thinking maybe this United Japan
Yeah.
could be something, and I think we were both pretty skeptical of that at the time. And like you said, they're at least doing something now, and they're involved in something, and I think that's good. And I do got to give a shout out before we go any further. I do want to say that you mentioned Noah. I'm glad you brought that up with Kaito and whatnot. But I do want to let everybody know out there. I am just like for the first two times. I am going to have a full review of my good friend Dr. Jonathan Foy's book, Freedom and Faith, which is all about pro wrestling Noah, and features quotes from some of the smartest, most intelligent, best looking experts on Japanese pro wrestling that he features in his book. I won't say who, but he has some really great people on there, and I will be doing a full review of that. So check that book out. It's got good reviews already from the people who've checked it out. Freedom and Faith. It's took a long time. I know how long it's taken, and it's finally out. So check that out. So just want to give a little plug ski there for Dr. Jonathan, and like I said, Noah is doing their thing with United Japan. But like I said, I wonder why All Japan is always on the outside looking in on these shows.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It's
my guess would be the president.
Yeah.
Probably runs some people the wrong way. To be perfectly honest about it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's like there's nothing to really confirm that or anything. And I, we'll talk about All Japan in a little bit, but they had their ups and downs over the last little while. But I do think that's a big part of it.
It's interesting that the only companies that they work with right now, All Japan that is, are Dragon Gate and 2AW, because the 2AW president also has or had an office position in All Japan Pro Wrestling. And Dragon Gate, we talked about it off the air, Dragon Gate may be suffering from the same problem that All Japan is suffering from, and that is management issues, maybe.
Well, I think there's definitely there's certain people that used to wrestle for Dragon Gate that I think would definitely agree with you when we get into that there. So that's interesting. We're gonna get into that very soon.
We'll get into that, but first, Dylan, I want to talk about a big show that happened this past weekend, and that is TJPW Grand Princess 2026. And when we're talking about TJPW, we of course have to also include their very successful tour of Texas, where they had 4 shows, 2 in Austin, 1 in Dallas, and 1 in Houston. I did a digest. I jumped into the Austin shows, watched some of the matches, and I came away thinking that this was a very, very good experience for TJPW, drawing over 1,000 fans for all of these shows. Really good stuff there. Had some really good matches, and I want to say that before we go to Grand Princess, Dylan, I think the Mio Yamashita versus Shoko Nakajima match was better than any match on Grand Princess. Would you agree?
I like that match a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think it would probably be the number 2 for me on the Grand Princess show. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But it would be up. It would be up very high. It was a really, really good match.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good outing for TJPW to come to America. Of course, for the younger talent, for example, like Uta Takami, she also got to a headline one of the shows. Mifu Ashida was there. We saw the re-debut of the former Kaya Toribami as Sakura Hattori. So very eventful 4 shows for TJPW in America.
Yeah, absolutely. And teaming up with South by Southwest was a great decision. Very good to work with such a major festival like that, and it helped them out a lot for the first few shows. So, once again, they've done a lot of good stuff in Texas, and I'm sure they'll be back again next year as well.
Yes. You can be sure about that, I'd say. Yeah, so that then brings us to Grand Princess, Dylan. It was once again a long show, of course, longer than 5 hours, so it took a while to get through. You had some of the matches on the undercard where you could just not be as focused on as for the main event matches. Specifically, were like these battle royal matches on these bigger shows. I tend to zone out on these. Not really something that I invest heavily in. But like I said before, I thought that the Yamashita versus Shoko Nakajima match on the Austin show was better than most of the matches on this show. And that definitely includes the main event of this show for the Princess of Princes title. We saw Yuki Arai defeat Miyo Watanabe for the championship in 21-20. And this match has a very high rating on Cage Match, where I feel a big disconnect too, because I thought it was not a good main event at all. And I know that you specifically, and you've been very consistent about that in the last couple of years, you've been very critical about Yuki Arai's wrestling ability. I've been less critical about her, but I would say that this role that she is in now, we knew it was coming. It was very clear from the moment that she debuted in TJPW that at one point in her career that she would be the Prince of Princes champion. But this role, when I look at the match that she had with one of the best wrestlers in this company, not maybe the best wrestler in this company, that is not a good sign for her upcoming title defenses, because she won't always be in with wrestlers as good as Miyo Watanabe. I mean, you can always put her with Shoko Nakajima, you can always put her with Miyo Yamashita, but there is a definite limit of people that are so good that they are able to work with Arai in a way that she looks very good in her matches. And she had severe issues in this match, and even Miyo Watanabe had to cover for it a lot. I mean, there were several moments in this match where Watanabe had to wait for a few seconds for Arai to get in position to do the move, and that totally took me out of this match, and it totally killed the suspension of disbelief for me in this match, because it was very obvious that they were doing a performance, and this performance in some moments was just very off between these two. So to me, this title run is off to not a good start, and I'm very skeptical of where it could go to, Dylan.
Well, like you said, ultimately, this was going to happen. Like it wasn't something we were going to be able to really get away from. And, and it's nothing against Watanabe at all. And I do think she's a wonderful wrestler. I never would criticize her ability at all. I think I agree with you. She probably is the best wrestler in terms of skill in the company. And I mean, the thing is, all you have to do is compare this match to the match at the beginning of the year with Suzume going for the belt. And I think that there's such a clear difference between those two matches that it's hard for me to really buy in. And, just like I said on the show, when it comes to the inmates, a lot of the people, it's not like, I think with TJP and also DDT, I think that these things are true for both of these companies and every company to an extent, but especially those. If you are going to review these shows, you have to be a fan enough to watch them. And I feel like a lot of times with the main emotional core of things, you're either really in or really out. Like there's no real middle person that's just a casual fan. Like you're kind of really in or really out. Maybe for the big shows, you'll probably get a few people like that that will jump in for a Grand Princess. But for the most part, these are big fans voting, and they're big into everything going on. I thought Miyu did her best here. And Arai, to me, when I watch her wrestle, I don't want to be mean like here to someone that I think has been... I think all of my criticisms of hers are very warranted, to be honest. I don't think there's really an argument against anything I've said for her. But I think when you wrestle someone like her, you're just trying not to drown. You know, like you're not going to have a great match with someone like this. Like no matter who it is, you just have to try not to like for things to not go off the rails.
Yeah.
I don't know if it went off the rails, but it wasn't a great match either. Like I think this was probably about as good as it could have been with Arai. In it, I would say, and you know, and I just it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, and you know, like, hey, let's be fair. You know, regardless of things, you know, it's not Dylan Pro Wrestling. They drew over 3,000 fans for this show. You know, that was better than last year they weren't even able to run this, this venue, it was at Oda Ward or whatever, or Oda City. And they drew better than they did 2 years ago, which also had Watanabe in the main event. So, like we have to give them credit for the fans of TJPW. I think you know what you're in for. Just like DDT, like there's a certain expectation for the wrestling in this promotion I think we all have. And, maybe she's great at some things that aren't as important to me, mainly that she had an idol background, that people care about her for that reason, more so than her wrestling.
That's very important, definitely. And I don't want to take that away. That is a very important and key part of TJPW. And I know that the fans are looking for that. So that's fair game. And that's for them. I can understand that just from a wrestling standpoint and being able to deliver a main event. Yeah, I'm skeptical about this decision.
If I were rating it, it'd be like a 5 out of 10 for me, which is pretty high for an Arai match. Like to me, most of her matches are not. She's kind of like, I always compared her like Saki, like before she had that match with Satomura, where she like unlocked something and became much improved. I think Arai's still kind of in that phase, and maybe there'll be some sort of match with her that unlocks something within her we never saw before. This wasn't it though, in my opinion.
It overall it was a weirdly put together show. When you go to the bottom of the show, you of course
that's another thing. Yeah, you've been going
with a good match between Uta Takami and Shion Kansaki. I'm very high on Kansaki. She's really good. You get this the comedy portion with the Iron Man Heavy Metal title. You get a good tag match, Himawari and Shino Suzuki versus Ren Konatsu and Toga. A good 6-man follows that. Then they have the comedy portion again with Misuki and Andreza Giant Panda. You have probably the best match on the show with Sari and Takumi Iroha going over Arisa Endo and Miyo Yamashita. Great back and forth, specifically between Miyu and the Spark Rush team, but Aris Endo had some great moments in this match too. Suzume versus Mirai for the International Princess title was very good, but this was also sandwiched between the I don't even know how to what to say about the tag match. The Konosuke Takeshita and Yuka Sakazaki versus Hyper Misao and Super Sasadango Machine. That went forever. It was 21 minutes long, and it felt like it went forever. And you have the Princess tag team title match in the semi-main that went 12 minutes, and I don't know what even happened in these 12 minutes because it was.
What was that thing they did in the ring that was vaguely like wrestling, but it wasn't quite that? It was that thing these four do in a wrestling ring, like it seems like. Yeah, but so, I was going to make that point though about the tag match. Yeah. Like that, the Spark Rush match was an incredible match. Like that to me is a great match. Like one of the better Joshi matches anywhere of the year. I thought they really brought their A game. And Endo, I mean, by the way, get well soon. Arisu Endo should be taking some time off now.
Okay.
But, and I don't know if you heard that or not. I guess you didn't based on that.
It's news to me, actually.
Well, you can look that up and get the official thing if you want. But I'll talk about the matchup. So Endo, I thought, went out with a bang because she freaking had an incredible performance here. I thought she actually, like, it's easy to go with Sari. Like, anywhere she goes, she's the best worker in any match that she's in. And that's true. But here I thought Endo actually was the glue that, that pulled the match together. I loved her exchanges, especially with Sari, but Iroha is another one where, once she was one of the best, but she's had some down years, I do have to say. Last year I thought was not a great year for her. and I think that
Yep.
she's kind of struggled. And here, now teaming with Sari, again, it's kind of a cheat code. Like, yes, you're teaming with her, and it makes everyone better around her. But I think that she really delivered her best singular performance in a while and brought some good things. And Yamashita's another one. She's been mentally checked out for a while in TJPW. And here, for whatever reason, going up against big stars from outside seemed to bring something out of her. But I was really impressed with Endo and Sari's exchanges. I thought they did a great job, and it led to a really great match that I hope that they eventually get back to down the line.
Yes, they should really do that. Aris Endo, like you said, she benefited highly from this match. I mean, we know that Yamashita in this company is a big star, and they are trying to get Aris Endo there. And with performances like that, I'm sure that she'll be able to climb the ladder.
And then following that,
Yes,
like that match, I thought really turned the show around in a negative way. Like it killed the show, like pretty much.
That's the issue with that. You know, the Spark Rush versus Aris Endo and Yamashita match was so great, but you had 2 more hours of action with one actual good match. And that completely tainted the final moments of the show, final hours of the show.
Yeah, and I think so too. And again, after that tag match with Spark Rush, it was so great. And I thought, okay, we're rolling. We've got that Mirai match coming. Maybe Miyu can get something out of Arai and make this a great show. But after that, I mean, like I said, the main event, the semi-main, there was really, in my opinion, it would have taken basically a miracle for those matches to be good on paper, because there are people that I've seen all of these people wrestle many, many times, and I know what they're about. I know what kind of wrestlers they are, and I know that I'm probably not going to think what they put down is that good at the end of the day. So I was a little bit skeptical even going into the show of those 2 matches being the big matches. But still, like after the Spark Rush match, I thought the undercard was not that bad. Even the comedy stuff wasn't too egregious. Yeah, like it wasn't egregiously anything like that. Like I thought it was a pretty good undercard. And then you like, okay, we're kickstarting the next half of the show, and even that match, like it had good potential on paper. Like if you look at Sakazaki and Takeshita teaming together, like. Even Misao has delivered. If you're going to go for a more comedy-oriented match, she's somebody you would probably trust.
They certainly had good interactions at this one point in the match where it seemed like that Misao was going to be wrestling serious, and Sakazaki was going for it. That was the best moment of the match.
Yeah, and but the problem is the match was just bad. Like there was no real analysis to be had on it. It was just bad. It really hurt the show. And like I said, then unfortunately Suzume Mirai had to like follow that. And I think they did a fine job. Like it wasn't like they, it's this terrible match, but they had potential. We've seen what Mirai and Suzume could do. Again, Suzume versus Watanabe was an incredible match. Mirai's had a ton of great matches this year.
Yeah.
And yet we got a good match when they probably needed something really great to say, like, especially considering what was going to happen afterwards. They needed to really deliver huge to put this show over the top. And we got a good match, and not as great as it could have been. And then the last 2 matches, I just don't think were up to any kind of main event standards, I would say.
Yeah, no, weirdly put together show overall.
What do you think about the Inspiration winning the belts?
Yeah, I mean,
all 3 titles changed hands on this show.
All 3 titles changed hands. Inspiration are champions. I don't know. I don't have anything against these 2. It's cool for them that they get the chance to wrestle in Japan. That is probably TJPW is probably the one company that they are suited the best with, I would say. But I'm not looking forward to any of the title defenses that they are going to have.
Yeah,
and it's a weird deal too for Wakana Ohara and Yuki Kamifuku, because where do they go with this team now that they've lost the title? Are they going to go back to being singles wrestlers? Is that it for Overeats? Are they winning the titles back? I don't know. When you look at the Princess Tag Division, since they've been champions. I mean, they defended the title against Himawari and Shino Suzuki, against Aro Kazashiro and Yuki Aino, and now lost to the Inspiration. The Inspiration is actually the first proper tag team that they faced in their run.
Here's my problem. They gave them a whole tournament during this title reign. They won the Max Hard.
I know.
And you did immediately turn around and have them lose the belts. And I'll be honest, I'm not sitting here saying the Inspiration are by any means a great tag team in terms of in-ring stuff. They've had their moments as a comedic team. I'm not going to deny that. They've got some good charisma and all that. But even still, I don't think Uber Eats are good at all. Like, I don't think they're any kind of tag team that brings anything out of me. But you have decided to push them to this point, to where you've given them the belts, you've given them the tournament, and then you immediately just fold that. Basically, whatever you could have gotten by having a real team beat them, a native team beat them, a Tokyo Joshi Pro team, finally overcome the team that had this dominant reign where they won the tournament at the same time. Instead, you've wasted it by giving it to this outsider team that you don't even know what they're going to do with the belts overall. So whatever good you like I said, with Arai winning, that's not good for me as a fan, but there's potential for it to work with the Idol fans and the people like that. So I totally get why they would do that. With this, I just don't see any possible upside for pushing Uber Eats how they did, only for it to end this way. All of it doesn't really connect with me. And again, I think the after that mixed tag match, I think that really dragged the rest of the show down, and I was just like, man. And I like I said, I was happy. I liked the Panda match. I thought I'm always everybody knows I'm the number one fan of mascot. Like, that's the exact measure of wrestling comedy that I can get behind. So anytime Andres and Giant Panda's in a match, it's probably going to hit for me. And they did again. I thought they did a fantastic job in that match. Then you had the amazing tag match, and I was like, okay, this show's getting going, it's rolling, I'm happy. And then you had the last 4 matches, and it's like, man, the meat of this show just wasn't there, and I don't know why. I don't know why it had to be this way overall.
Yeah, that's it's weird.
I wonder what I would have liked to have seen this show, kind of to continue your point at the start of the layout. If that match had been moved before the Panda match, because that to me would have been the perfect way to get away from all of this negativity from this terrible tag match. You have a match that works for everybody. Like, any sort of fan will like this ridiculous Panda Mizuki match. And then you could get the show on to the real wrestling after that, and we'd be rocking and rolling. I think that would have been... I think the entire show would have flowed better if they just moved that match a little bit earlier on the card. Or even moved it before the Spark Rush match. Maybe they would have had a better chance, but like I said, I'd be worried that it might drag that a little bit down too, because I do think that Suzume and Reich, they have a great match in them if they were to be in a different circumstance. But it just wasn't to be. And the show, I wouldn't say it was terrible, but I was pretty checked out by the end, and I was kind of waiting for it to end.
Me too. Yes, so the reason that the Inspiration won the tag title is pretty much that they are going to defend it in Las Vegas over WrestleMania weekend. They are facing Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima for the title there. Other matches on that show. I just closed the card. I have to find it again. Wait a sec. Other matches on that show are Suzume versus Sakura Hattori for the International Princess title, and Yuki Arai makes her first defense of the Princess of Princess title against J-Rod. That is it's going to be interesting.
I think, first of all, I do have to give some praise to Sakura Hattori. By the way, I like this new gimmick of hers.
Good debut.
I was a fan of hers anyway. As Toribami, I thought she was super underpushed and underrated. And now with this new gimmick, I think her presence has improved for sure. So I really like what we've seen of her from Texas on. I think J-Rod is one of the better women's indie talents in America. I really liked her run in TJPW that she had. Yeah, and she's done good everywhere she's gone. Like TJPW, she was good, but even in America, she's done good things in weaker companies at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. So I like what she brings to the table a lot. And I mean weaker companies. This is somebody in Juggalo wrestling at the end of the day. But I think like the look is great. Her wrestling is really strong. She's got a lot of charisma. I really like her vibes that she gives off in the ring. She's got great confidence in herself. And I think she's somebody that has a lot to offer. So I think that, again, it's a rise. So I'm not like, there's only so high I think you can go. But who knows? Maybe if the fans take to her, like we don't know how the American fans are going to take to her as a champion. But if they can make that match feel big, maybe it can at least be like, again, expectations lowered, but maybe it could be the best it can be. Pretty much. Yeah.
Maybe. I just looked up the upcoming cards in early April to get a glimpse of what is going to be the program for TJPW upcoming for April. Let me see. April 4, we have a tag match. Yuki Arai and Mifu Ashida against Uta Takami and Mizuki. 2 days after that, we have a tag match. Yuki Arai and Toga versus Shoko Nakajima and Mio Yamashita. So not really anything of a program setup, but that's the next set of shows that they have coming up. So we'll have to wait and see what comes after J-Rod for Yuki Arai.
And at least they have with the WrestleMania weekend coming up, they at least have a big show for the fans to look forward to. And like I said, Endo's thing is not going to be that long. She'll only be out a couple weeks. So hopefully she can get back. I don't think she'll be on those shows, but those WrestleMania weekend shows. But by then she should probably be back in Japan, hopefully, and everything can go okay there. And at least with this new title reign, it gives the company a little bit of a fresh coat of paint, I guess.
Watanabe. Yes, that's good. Yes, that's well put.
Yeah. And like I said, we love Watanabe, but there's room for improvement in terms of drawing, and I think that Arai may be able to pull that off, and and I hope so. I want the company to take good steps forward, and I do think they're improved from where they were like a year ago or so. Like I think they're better now than they were then, where things just felt like it was just a totally nothing company. But they've got to keep their pedal on the metal here, when it comes to after Grand Princess, after WrestleMania weekend, because there was that lull for like 3 or 4 months where it just felt like a nothing happening company, and so they have to try and avoid that this time, and I think that would do a lot for Arai.
Too bad that the second reign for Miyu Watanabe fell into this void of the company.
And even her first run, it wasn't able to, for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to connect with her as champion. Even though her performance is very good, but yeah, for whatever reason, it just maybe the company can fix some things going forward.
Hopefully. Yes, so different company, smaller shows, but very much great wrestling. Sendai Girls, Dylan. They had 2 shows recently, one in Shinkiba and one in their home base in Sendai Pit. Both of these shows were headlined by Shihiro Hashimoto, who just continues to be the measuring stick for Sendai Girls, the measuring stick for, you might say, all of Yoshi wrestling. There are some others that you could also include in this argument, for example, like Sari, of course. But Shihiro Hashimoto, she's just... I've seen her live at 16 Karat Gold. She had 2 of the best matches on that weekend with Danny Luna and with Kanji. She stands out wherever she goes, whether it's in her own company with Sendai Girls, whether it is in other companies. Shihiro Hashimoto is just... It feels like, Dylan, that we are witnessing a very special career as it unfolds and as it continues. She's just amazing, and she had a very good main event match with Yuna. They are pushing
that was an
Yuna.
Excellent match.
They are pushing Yuna very much so, and Yuna did really well in this match with Hashimoto, especially when they were rolling on the ring match. I thought that Yuna looked very good there. She had 2 matches on that show, actually. That she defeated Honoka in the opener and then lost to Hashimoto in the main event of the March 22nd Shinkiba show.
I thought that was a great match, and I think I honestly, I don't know if this is a hot take. I actually kind of like that even better than the title match in some ways. Which
yeah.
it's nothing against the title match at all. But this
Uh-huh.
match, I love the story because they told a show long story for this. Like
Mm-hmm.
really, I don't want to say a nothing show, but it was there was nothing going on storyline wise. It was just a show, and Yuna had to fill in for Oka, and she's like, they worked this match in a similar way to the great match a couple of years ago when Hashimoto was and Mirai was also in Stardom. They had Hashimoto versus Mirai, and I thought that was a phenomenal match of this archetype. And Yuna, I think, was able to fill those shoes like here,
Yeah,
despite
she
being
was.
good. Like in her career, she's okay in the ring. She's not a bad worker, but she's not somebody I'm looking at and saying, "Oh, she has all of these amazing underdog performances." But for here, and because Hashimoto was so great too, to be fair, I think she really showed that hey, like there is a lot to her, and I thought she stepped up huge in a main event spot. And Hashimoto, even though it was, and just like the other match, like it was obviously her in a dominant match, she gave Yuna enough that it made it work overall. So I thought that was an excellent match and one that everybody should watch, honestly.
Yes, definitely. I would say that both of these main event matches were on a similar level. They were very different, obviously. The Manami match was longer. It had more. It had some moments for Manami that Yuna did not have in the match, where you'd think that not that Manami would win the match, but that she could stand up to Hashimoto, which wasn't really there for Yuna. That Manami had. Manami obviously longer into her career than Yuna, so that had to be expected.
And this was a title match.
Yeah, good outings for both Manami and Yuna. It's been good to see these talents grow in the last couple of months and years in Sendai Girls. Notably, on the 27th of March show from Sendai was that Mika Iwata pinned Hasuki in the semi-main event, setting up a match for the upcoming Kirken Hall show that they have on, I think it's on April 12th. First match announced is Spike Nishimura going for the Sendai Girls Junior title against Senka Akatsuki. Rematch from the what's the tournament called? The horse tournament.
The horse tournament.
Yeah, it translates to something with horse. What's the actual name of the tournament? Why doesn't
Jaja Uma?
Yeah, the Jaja Uma tournament. Yeah, that translates to something with horse. Actually, it's the rematch from the final where Seika Akatsuki defeated Spike Nishimura, and then went on to win the Sendai Girls Junior title from Yuna. So they are wrestling for that title in Kirken now. And the match that I alluded to is FWC coming into Sendai Girls. Hazuki and Koguma, they go against Red Energy of Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase. No further title matches announced so far. No tag title match or main title match announced so far, Dylan.
New gear for Senka.
Yes, that's right.
Knee pads.
Mm-hmm. She's evolved.
That match should be really good, and I'm a huge FWC fan. I'm sure a lot of people who know what I think about Stardom knows that. So for them to come in, face Red Energy should be a great match. I hope they have something good planned for that, and I think that it should be a good show overall. And Sendai is a very easy company to watch. They have good wrestling all the time. It's usually 5-match shows. And it's pretty much all of them have talented people in them, and they do a really good job. So, looking forward to that and all of their shows.
Yeah, I really like the roster they have lined up here in 2026. Spike Nishimura has been a good addition to the company as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
They also, Dylan, they frequently use zones, and they use Chi-Chi when she's healthy. And both of these women have announced that they are leaving their home company of Evolution. And not only that, but also Zuwama is stepping down from his position as the entire office system the entire system behind the company is changing, as they announced now at the end of March. So Evolution could be looking different from what we used to know it. It's going to be interesting to follow along with that, because I know that a lot of people have been very fond of Evolution and have been following the shows, as they have put on some really cool matches in the last couple of months. And now the company seems to be changing. We don't know yet if Zones and Chi-Chi will be continuing to wrestle for Evolution. We'll see about that. Do you see them signing anywhere, or do you see them wrestling as freelancers?
Well, Chi-Chi's the champion right now, right? So she would
Is
have
she?
to.
Yeah.
So a strong,
Yeah,
strong
yeah.
women's champion.
That's right.
So I would think that she would have to at least drop it to somebody.
At least drop the belt, yeah.
I don't know about the future of this company in general. To be honest, we'll have to see how that handles with whoever's in charge. It's not that surprising. This year Suwama started to wrestle back into All Japan more. He's been there, pretty
Now
consistently.
she just defended the title against Honoka, just days before the announcement, actually.
Yeah, Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, Suwama, he wrestled in All Japan more this year. So it's not surprising that things are about to change. He probably sees the writing on the wall. They all do. So, and I mean, I've said it before. If I was, I'm not wishing this would happen for multiple reasons, but if I was an American company, any one of them, Chi-Chi would be like my number one pick to sign from Japan. She has everything it takes to succeed on TV. A Japanese wrestler who's not only a great talent, but speaks great English on top of it. She can really be great with her English speaking ability, can cut promos, do great character work. Her charisma is unreal. And I think that, she's a great person. And she talked about wanting to wrestle internationally. I'd be surprised if it's that hard to get for her to find work on in the West. I would say if that is her goal. Freelance wise, I mean, they've had appearances in other companies for sure already, even part of Evolution. You mentioned Zones in Sendai Girls. Chi-Chi, she's wrestled in various companies. Like you said, she was in Sendai's too. She's wrestled in Wave, Stardom. She was on Monday Magic at one point.
Yes,
Even
sure.
Zones Wars too. Like they've been in all these same places. I'm sure they were glate at some point.
Yeah, Michiko had the title for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I mean they're going to be Chi-Chi especially. I think has a lot, will be very in demand. And Zones can have a very nice freelance run in her own right, and we'll see what she can do overall. I think that she's got the chance to, make an impact as a freelancer, but it's going to be interesting to see if she branches out to like a Seedling or something like that with Hiroyo right now doing her thing. If she can get a big match with her, I think Zones with her size and power can really add a different flavor to a lot of shows. So, I look for her to be a freelancer. I think Chi-Chi, I think it's really a matter of time before she gets signed somewhere. I think she's just the talent, look, charisma, all of that is so strong. I think Chi-Chi is a top tier Joshi wrestler.
That is why she was very high up in our rookie awards last year. It was, I think, or 2 years ago.
She won.
She won. Yeah.
Yeah, she won. They had a tie with her and Bolton, and then the fans voted for her in the end.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, so that is these two wrestlers leaving their company. And then there is another one in Dragon Gate. It's been something that we've been hearing for the last couple of weeks, since Dragon Dia has not been wrestling for Dragon Gate since the end of February. He is now gone from the company officially, and apparently he didn't leave on good terms. So he announced that he didn't come to terms with the company and is now a freelancer. And Dragon Gate took that as something to reply to. I'm not reading the entire statement. It's really long, but the gist of it is that they are upset that they couldn't talk to him directly. I'm quoting here. We were not strongly demanding the fulfillment of all contractual obligations, and we believed that a face-to-face discussion would be the best course of action, which we conveyed to Dragon Dia. However, Dragon Dia notified us through his agent that he would be leaving the company at the end of February 2026. They seem to be very upset about the fact that Dragon Dia has an agent, and that this agent talked to the company that the wrestler is working for. That is not a good look as a company, because as a talent, I mean, we know that from any sports that we are following, Dylan, whether it's European football, whether it's American football, whether it's baseball, basketball, you name it. Wrestlers and talents, they do have agents that work out their contracts for them, that work out stuff for them, because in most instances, those guys that they have as agents, they actually have pretty well knowledge about the scene, about the sport, about the contractual systems that are in line. And so getting an agent should not be something that a company holds against you, but it is something for a talent to get security from, to get the best contract that you can. And so that the company is so upset about him using an agent and giving out this statement with this wording is extremely interesting, and provides a look into the company, specifically after that talk event that Shima and Magnum Tokyo did a couple of weeks ago, where they talked about how the company is run. And to me, that's not a good look.
And in that, Tokyo specifically said he knows of a young wrestler trying to leave, but they are wanting to let him. So that's interesting that came in. I said at the end of the last show, I had heard myself that he was gone, and I know other people like have too. So I was fully expecting something like this to come up eventually. I wasn't expecting the statement to come out, to be honest, but I really hesitate to pass too much judgment one way or the other, only because I know that the stuff that Magnum Tokyo was saying about this is not like Dragon Gate is the only company that this is known for, because a Japanese, it's a Japanese societal problem, like even beyond wrestling. Like, there's companies that their whole purpose is you hire someone that will quit your job for you, basically, in Japan. Like, that's how difficult it is to get out of this stuff. With, again, not just in wrestling, not just in DG, but anywhere. It's a societal issue right now.
And it goes to show, as I said in the wording, I have to quote this one here, this paragraph. As a company, we simply could not accept Dragon Dia's departure, leaving behind our fan base and those involved. That is passing incredible blame to this guy.
Yeah. And it's not right. Like, it's not right. Like, one way or the other, if it's a societal issue, whatever. This isn't fair. He wanted to go for whatever his reasons were. Maybe there's another contract he wants to find, or he doesn't,
And the obvious goal that everybody's expecting him to go is New Japan, and I completely understand, and I am skeptical and critical of that as well, that New Japan is getting wrestlers from smaller companies in Japan. Maybe we don't know that, but there could be an argument of maybe poaching talent during their contract with another company. We don't know that, like I said, but there is certain fans outside that could be upset about New Japan, or are already upset about New Japan getting talent from other companies.
Well, there is something I wanted to bring up with that, so I'm going to put a pin on that now when we transfer to whatever we're going to say about New Japan. Like, I'm going to bring up a topic that we didn't talk about before, but I have a question that relates to all of this situation. Anyway, I think that Dia's statement, in it, he claims that he's just going to shut it down for a little while.
Yeah.
And that really feels like...
That's what Jay said on Blue Sky as well, that you don't have to expect this guy to show up anywhere in the coming... in the next time.
I just get the vibes that this was actually like a favor, not or maybe not a favor, but trying to start off with the right foot to New Japan to protect against accusations that you just laid out a second ago. Like, hey, it's like, oh, Shingo, oh, I'm really looking forward to wrestling on the go to Europe and wrestle here. Ishimori, oh, I want to try and make it in America. And then that's what this really feels like to me ultimately. And maybe I'll be wrong on it.
I just looked up with Shingo because I was interested in how that went, and he was wrestling on Dragon Gate, and the very next day he was on the New Japan show when he left the company.
Well, and that's another thing. We didn't get to talk about the Tokyo and Shima thing too in depth, but I did post a really long comment on our Twitter after that show because basically when I had recorded that part, it was right after me and you. Like me and you were on the line for like 2 hours after our part recorded. So I then recorded another thing for the show, and basically all I had known is something happened with Shima in Magnum Tokyo. I don't know it. I just know that something happened. And like that was about as far as I knew. And I said on the show, I was like, VoiceGate will probably have something about it. You can check that out. And they did. And then I found out what happened. And I posted a long comment on our Twitter at Eastern Lariat. So, I said a lot there. But basically, we have to admit, maybe Tokyo has some sour grapes. I feel bad for Shima. He's trying to angle his way back to get a match in Dragon Gate, and Magnum Tokyo comes in and is like, let me talk about some things first.
Yep.
She was like, the funniest thing that can happen in all of this is if Dia is on their talk show on the 26th. Like he comes in as a special guest for Shima, Tokyo, and Yoshino, and he's like, "We have a new guest on the show." That would definitely end any hope if there is any left. Dia? Dia, tell your story about DG now. But yeah, like the fact is though, whatever you want to say about Magnum Tokyo, they were trying to say maybe it's an opportunistic play on his part. I just question why now. Like, it feels like this is kind of like the worst time to try to do something like that, especially for DG and specifically. But also, we have to admit, whatever his reasons or whatever, obviously some of his stories were bombastic, and he may be exaggerated in some ways. But whatever you think of all of that, and even how that all came out, there's a lot that's happened in DG over the past decade that has not been good. Like, people have left, like, constantly. It's not like one or two people. It's like you could go right down the line since everything happened in 2018. Obviously, and Shingo even before that. Like, after that, and then then Shima and the Strong Hearts all left, and then people left before that. Stuff Okuda left, Ishida, SBK, and them. All of these people have left and right, and now Dia is the latest one. So you have to wonder, things can't all be peaches and cream backstage back there. Is all I'm saying. Like, it's easy to blame the wrestlers, and even Magnum Tokyo might be an egomaniac who's disgruntled. But the fact is, clearly things are not all perfect in that company right now. Like, there's no way you can argue that with so much that's happened.
Correct.
And by the way, not exactly the best time for all of this bad publicity to come out with how things are going right now, just on their shows. You had a major injury. You had another situation nobody knows about. Big Boss being gone for a year mysteriously. And so all kinds of stuff, like, look at all these problems that we just laid out in a matter of minutes. And now the company's at one of its worst points, I would say, in terms of, like, the product. Like right now with Kakuta as champion, people are jumping ship, like, as fans, left and right. And again, it's just a lot. It's a lot's on Dragon Gate's plate right now, and they need to figure this stuff out. Like, they're going to have to find some way to have some good publicity going forward.
Yeah, they definitely have to figure this out, because in late April they have a show called Golden Colosseum in the Aichi Prefectural Budokan. They have to fill that place up.
And what's the champ doing on that show?
What's the champ doing on that show?
We don't know. He's not in the main event.
We have Yuti and Ryoya Tanaka, and we have that four-way, right? The cage
the
four-way.
cage match. Yeah, this is basically Dead or Alive, just rebranded.
Yep. And we have a Twin Gate title match. Jackie Kama and Rita defend against Suzume and Kagetora.
And see, that could be a great match. And I'm sure even the main event will be interesting. But, like I said, you've got some issues right now with the product that they're going to have to work out heading into Kobe World. And I think that should be whatever's going on behind the scenes. That's something that they need to all come together and be like, look, we have to turn this narrative, because at first people were really on their side more than Magnum Tokyo's in his interview. Yeah, but this did not help them at all in that even. They threatened legal action against him. Then this other guy comes out and basically backs up something he said on there at the end of the day. So that's not a good look for the company. And they're going to have to figure out how to swim through these harsh waters. And not to mention, Shima and Tokyo do have that other show lined up with Masato Yoshino at the end of the month. And I'm sure he's another guy that left that was a legend in the company and out all this goodwill. They built a whole Kobe World show around his retirement. And then a year later or so, he's out. He's in Glate hanging with Shima. So, and I'm sure he's got some stories of his own to tell at the end of the month as well. So it feels like they're in a rocky position right now. They're going to have to find some way. Never mind. And the product does need some help in its own way, but they really need a win PR-wise. And I don't know how you're going to get that at this point in time.
No, it seems like that a lot of things are going against them, and they just have...
And that statement didn't help anything against Dia.
No, that statement didn't help them at all, and they don't find the right tools right now to maneuver anyone into a position where they could have that PR victory that you're alluding to. It's really a tough spot. They are in deep waters, and they have to find a way out of that. But right now, with this statement, they are in even deeper waters.
Yeah, they didn't do themselves any favors with all of this, to be honest. But, like I said, the thing is, I've largely, over the last year or two, there's been more good than bad in this company by far, from a product standpoint.
Yeah, we've been usually very high on Dragon Gate, and but that doesn't mean that in this very specific incident that we have to be critical about the company as well. I mean, that's not a good look, like I said many times before.
And even from a product standpoint, what is the future of Decourage now? Probably your top pushed babyface currently in Tanaka, and a legacy champion who you just threw under the bus a month ago in Yoshioka.
Yeah. And they didn't use the chance when they had to add Daiki Yanagiuchi to Decourage, because at some point, 1 or 2 years ago, it seemed that he would be a great fit with the group, but he's with Natural Vibes now.
I call him the Gooch.
The Gooch? The Gooch? Yeah. Like Adam Gooch from IWM itself?
The Gooch. That's what I call him. Hey, he's a champion right now, so I guess he made a pretty decent decision there. Yeah, but Decourage, man, they're gonna have to figure out, and the factions in general, it's something we've talked about many times at this point. But that one specifically, there's like a big spotlight on those two now, where it's like, hey, weren't there 3 of you like just yesterday? They're gonna have to explain this somehow and do something to get them out of this mess. For just never mind the PR part, but just on their shows with Yoshioka and Tanaka, they're in a really tough spot now too. They're going to have to figure out their way out of now.
It's the first time that Adam Gooch, the first and probably only time that Adam Gooch has ever been mentioned on the Eastern Lariat.
No, I like the IWA Mid-South callback
though. Yeah, I'm listening to Fanon's flashbacks right now to dive back into
It was a magical time, Striga.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was a time.
Yeah, accurate. much more accurate what you said.
It was an era. So yeah, a very controversial topic about Dragon Dia leaving the company, which then I think
Just
brings
Dia
us
now. He's not Dragon
Dia,
anymore.
capital D,
Yeah.
capital I, capital A, Dia. We'll see. You know, if I was a promoter, Dylan, even though they put out this statement, or that Jay put out the statement that he's probably not going to wrestle anywhere in the next time, I would do what I can do to get this guy on my shows, whether it's in America, whether it's in Europe. I would call his agent. I would text him. I would do anything to get this guy on my shows.
Yeah, I personally think he's going to be in New Japan, but if it's worth a call at least, like being like, hey,
it's worth a call. Why don't you try it? Yeah,
yeah. What's the worst thing that happen? He say, nah, I can't do that show. you
Yeah,
know,
sure.
like that's if you're a Noah, like even bringing him for a one shot show, you know, like one shot match against somebody for the title,
Do your Monday magic, Nosawa.
or him versus Amakusa, like for the junior title. That's a match everybody. Like everyone would love that.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's kind of in their storyline benefits that with him, going against Keno, him facing somebody from outside the company would be a great follow up to that. So, if they could pull that, that would be great. And maybe DDT could bring him in for some kind of deal if they wanted. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. But like I said, I personally, it's not based on any kind of secret information. Just reading the tea leaves of the statement, what I've just heard before, I think he's going to be in New Japan, and probably not. Yeah. It probably won't take that long, to be honest.
Do you think he's going to be in the Super Junior?
No, right now, as we're recording it, we're at 12 people announced. I guess
more.
This can kind of lead us to that conversation, actually, now that we're going to go into the Sakura Genesis. So, yeah, Dave, what do you think of this? And I'm going to swing this back to Dia in a second for a question I have for you. But now I'll ask you another question first. What do you think of the way they've rolled out the Super Junior list here? Because there are all these rumors going on. Voices of Wrestling had a report that they're... which, by the way, I actually alluded to myself on the last show that when I was talking about Matsufusa and Osaka Pro, that they would have money to get new people now that Finlay and Hiromu are gone. And there was a list. It wasn't him. He wasn't one of the names listed. But they're going after people. It's an open secret that they want to bring new people in for the junior division. What do you think of how they've rolled out the candidates for the Best of Super Juniors this year with the 3 people a day? They play videos for them, put them online. What do you think of that rollout compared to before, where they just kind of like throw everybody out there all at once?
It's funny. I think it's a good way to highlight these wrestlers. It's a good way to highlight the tournament. But then again, this is a company that doesn't put their junior title matches on their big shows anymore. We have Sakura Genesis coming up on April 4, and on April 2nd, there is a Kurken Hall show leading up to Sakura Genesis, Road to Sakura Genesis, where they have the 2 junior title matches in the main event of Kurken. And they, of course, have done this before and say, yeah, we put the matches in the main event, but it's in Kurken. But now the juniors are getting a main event position. That's all fine and good, but you are not putting your junior title match on the biggest show possible that you have right now. To me, that is a key issue with the junior division, because we have been seeing in the last couple of years that specifically this time of the year with the Best of the Super Junior coming up, the juniors have been headlining bigger shows. It was Dontaku, wasn't it? Or was it even... no, it wasn't Dontaku. It was Osaka Joe Hall, right? That they headlined.
Yeah.
Which one was it? I think it was one of those shows that the junior title headlined. I'm not sure right now. I might find it with Hiromu Takahashi. Wait a second. I want to find this right now.
Yeah. I'm interested in
Hiromu's should have been Hiromu's run. No, that wasn't it. I'm sorry. One of these matches, it was that headlined a bigger show, but I am not 100% sure about that. Might find out later. Too bad that I can't find out right now. But my point being is that they highlight the junior division with this rolling out of the announcements. But on the other hand, we've been seeing that the junior division has been basically in shambles for months now. And now that we are leading up to this moment in the year where the juniors get their shine, they are putting their efforts behind it. But it's something that I don't see lasting for the next couple of months, because after the Super Junior, we get into a G1 season where historically the juniors don't even play a role. So it's nice that they do it, but I don't see a lasting effect of that.
Yeah, I think the best part of it is that at least we're showing with them going for this, like what they are trying to do, they at least are basically acknowledging that the division needs to change. I think that also the match you're talking about, was that when Despy and Ishimori main evented Osaka Joe but that was the final of the tournament, remember?
I think it was.
Yeah, Dominion.
Dominion.
Was it last year or was it 24? No, last year, because last year had to be Yo and Fujita, so it had to be 2024.
It was 24.
But they were the main event of that show, though. Like, your point was right. It was just in the tournament, not a title match.
I'm just looking at it. It was Osaka Joe Hall, June 9, 2024. Desperado defeats Taichi Ishimori in the main event. Yes, that's the show.
And we were surprised because that was a successful show.
Exactly.
They're like, it actually worked back then.
Mm-hmm.
The division is just, to me, it's never been lower. And they've had low times, don't get me wrong. But right now, the title is just in the dump right now. And I think that there's no value in this division as it is. And they're at least acknowledging, hey, we know that things have gotten kind of out of hand. And we're going to make some changes. We're going to bring some new people in. We lost some guys like Hiromu. We're going to make this better again. Like, they're at least making an effort, even if it's not exactly what I personally would want to do. I appreciate that they're at least making efforts with things. And hopefully that can lead to these matches, because I really agree with you. It makes the titles look second rate when you're not able to have big show matches. Even in the Dome. How did that work at the Dome when they said, nope, we're not doing a title match on the Dome show?
Yep.
Like that. How did that make the division look?
And you can't tell me that you can't make room on Sakura Genesis for a title match. That's ridiculous.
Yes, yeah, exactly. To even argue that is foolish. Like, anyone who would argue on that. For sure, the title should be their next thing. I'm fine with this. And I hope that these next 8 guys, or however many people they're going to announce, are a lot of new faces. And they basically say, hey, this is the new class of New Japan. Like, the new era of the junior division is starting in this tournament. And then they can move back to where the title is on these bigger shows. And who knows, maybe they can even get a main event one day. Because I remember that match where they main evented. I was against that at first. I thought that they should do the final on their own show. Because I think that's how it's always been otherwise. But it actually worked in that instance. So that was good. But I do have a question that I want to throw to you. Combining all of these topics that we've hit on New Japan a bit. So, as you know, and maybe some of our listeners know, I want the listeners involved in this too now, because we're having fun speculation and fantasy booking right now. We're about to hit with. So, as you guys know, so some of you know, you definitely know, in CMLL, it was announced that Magnus is handling the Black Tiger gimmick. Now, he's the official new Black Tiger. And as you so eloquently stated, Striga, that you can't have a Black Tiger without a tiger mask.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Exactly. So, and this is something I called as soon as it was announced that he was retiring with Tiger Mask 4, that this gimmick is not going to just die off. Like, they're going to have another Tiger Mask going in there. Like, I knew that happening. So with that said, who better... not who specifically, but what way is better to reinvigorate this division than to have the legacy reborn with the Tiger Mask cured? Much like we saw in 0-1 with Hayabusa coming back has helped out a lot. They've done some really good things. And now New Japan has a way to do that with their own junior division once again, with a new Tiger Mask. And my question to you is, who is a good option? And right now, again, we don't have, maybe by the time this show airs, the Super Junior will have all these announcements of new guys that are different than what we're going to say. But who would you have in mind to be the next Tiger Mask?
Well, points points would be leading to Dragon Dia now that he's leaving
That's
the
what I
company.
think. Like, that's
and
exactly what I think
Mask,
he's going to do.
Tiger Mask is retiring.
Now, by the way, I just want to add on to that and why I think him. But before you get your answer, I want to say why I think it's Dia. If you are, this is something only a true longtime fan would remember or know, and I'm going to test you a little bit with this, and if you remember this or not. The man who also bears the dragon title, Ultimo Dragon, also was miraculously reborn as a tiger character at one point in his career.
Tiger Dragon. He was.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. So that's another thing they could bridge off. So, like, in my mind, it feels too perfect. And I think that he actually fits my image of a Tiger Mask.
Because the others that I would throw in would be, for example, Daiki Nagai. Or
that would be good.
Yeah, he would be good too. Or Shoma Kato, who is in Mexico right now.
Because I've seen a lot of people say him, and I think it's just because he's in Mexico. But when I look at him, he's not Tiger Mask coded to me. I don't know about you, Striga. He feels like an Ishii type of wrestler.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's surely going to go heavyweight.
Yeah, like I said, I guess there's no rule that Tiger Mask can't be a heavyweight.
No.
But not his style of heavyweight, which is bulky and, stout. Like, not a Kota Ibushi, like when he was in Tiger Mask W.
And you would need a wrestler that would fit well with the style that Magnus is going.
Yeah, and I mean, and hopefully Kato can get his footing. His early returns to Mexico haven't been good so far, but hopefully he can fit his way in. I know he wanted to be there, but I just think his strengths as a wrestler are not Tiger Mask coded. Again, it makes sense because he's a New Japan guy. I'm sure they personally would want to have that, like a trainee as the new guy. But Tiger Mask 4 wasn't a trainee of New Japan.
Yeah, he was from Michinoku Pro. Yeah,
he was in Pro. Yeah, so I think it fits more with a Dia, and I think he is actually the perfect kind of guy. And they clearly, there are people there that see something in him. They brought him back 1 million times for their tournaments already. At the end of the day, so I think he would be a great pick. But there are plenty of others. I like your idea of Nagai. I think he actually fits more in my vision of a Tiger Mask more than Kato. And again, it's nothing against Kato as a wrestler. I think has a great future. I just don't think he fits this particular gimmick that well. That's just my opinion on there. And we'll have to see who the new guys they bring in are too, if they have any guy like that or anybody they're scouting. We've heard about Kukai. We saw him brought in last year.
That's right,
as well. And there's people like that. Even the wrestlers like Desperado and fans and folks are putting their name into the hat. Maybe advocating for somebody they see something in. Hey, that's how dope.
Let's quickly go over the full lineup. The lineup that we have right now. Just as we're talking about the Super Junior tournament, let's mention the wrestlers announced so far. It's Robbie Eagles, Akira Francesco, Jacob Austin Young, Yo, Master Wato, Valiente Jr., Sho, Yoshinobu Konemaru, Daisuke Sasaki, Kosei Fujita, Doki, and El Desperado. Daisuke Sasaki is a choice if you have the House of Torture around.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like honestly a perfect fit for that group. As much as I don't like him, he would have been like not in my top 100 picks. I think if it were up to me, but he fits at least an aesthetic that they like. Valiente Jr. could be cool though.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, so that's the lineup we have so far. 12 wrestlers, as you mentioned, for the best of the Super Junior 33. That is starting on May 14, running until June 7 in Ota City General Gymnasium. Yep, that is the lineup for that. I mentioned the Road to Sakura Genesis on April 2nd. I'm not going through the entire card of multi-man matches here. Main event is Yo.
A lot of meaningless multi-man tags.
Yeah. Main event is Yo versus Doki for the junior title. And the semi-main is Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori in their first defense against Jacob Austin Young and Francesco Akira. Both of these matches should be previews for the best of the Super Junior. The only other interesting match on that card is The second match, Konosuke Takeshita goes against Tatsuya Matsumoto, young lion.
I mean, I'm not interested in that main event at all.
Your silence says it all. Okay.
Yeah, I thought we were moving on to Sakura Genesis because this is like a
Sakura
meaningless
Genesis.
show
All right.
to me.
Sakura Genesis. Sakura Genesis also has a lot of multi-man matches that are going along with the stories that they have right now. There's Will Ospreay's return that has gotten some attention. He is teaming with Hinare and Great Okan, going against Yuya Omura, Taichi, and El Desperado. They, of course, still have the story from the beginning of the year where it looked like that Callum Newman was going to turn on Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay was standing there willingly giving up his back to Callum Newman for him to take the United Empire. The others conveyed Newman to not hit Ospreay with the chair. Ospreay left Japan and was not seen until now. So they should be picking up on that. That is a very interesting story that they have going on. Never open weight.
How would they do that in that match, though, with him in the main event? Like, what can they do?
They will not do it in the match. They could do it after the main event.
Oh, okay. And even that might, well, it depends on how the, well, I guess we'll talk about the main event.
Depends on how it goes. Yeah. Never open weight 6-man tag title. Oleg Bolton, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi defend against the House of Torture, Renarita, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. Whoop. What a match.
They'll probably win.
Yes. Sure. Why not? It's just what they do. It's just what they do. I have a question for you, Dylan. Now, after Konosuke Takeshita has been world champion, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, that is, the title that is no longer around, how does it feel to you that he is now the television champion?
Well, listen, somebody's got to do it. Somebody has to be
Somebody
the
has
TV
got
champion.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's been Phantasmo for so long. They said, all right, we're going to move the belt.
That's how I feel about the 3 singles titles in WXW. Somebody has to do it.
Hey, I think for every single company in wrestling right now, I think we feel that way. There's too many singles titles in every company, basically, I think. But, yeah, I mean, it's good for me as a fan because I like him better than ELP as a wrestler, and I think him having matches every show is better. And I think this is one of the hotter TV title matches they've ever had. Like in this show,
the highest profile match that they have done since Tanahashi and Zack Sabre Jr.
And I think that if it were me, I think Umino should win, actually. Like, you're not gaining anything with Takeshita as this champion, and Umino, that would be a huge moment for him to get his first title. In a show
he needs something.
I don't anticipate any of the other belts to change hands, so I think that this would make sense for him to win.
Yeah.
Takeshita could just win anyway, fine. It's fine, but...
Yeah. I mean, since Shota Umino once again lost in the New Japan Cup, if they were going with that storyline, he would lose again here. But it also fits their way of booking Shota Umino that he could win, actually, because they're not very straight with his booking. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses.
And if he loses, to what end? You're like what is the...
Nothing is happening. Yeah, nothing is happening. You were for the longest time expecting a turn from either him or from Uemura, but I guess from him more than Uemura.
Yeah, but I mean, they kind of alluded to it in the early going of the tournament, but they went away from that. I said, and I'm glad they did. I'm so glad that Newman won their match, so they didn't go that route.
Yeah, absolutely. So this could really go either way. You could argue for both guys to win this match.
And if the end game is just them winning the tag belts, then I think we talked about that a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that. I like them as a tag team, and I would like them to win. If it were me, I would have had them win already, actually. But they're Knockout Brothers are hot. I get that. But I think the ideal for me would be Umino does lose only for them to win the belts at Dominion. But they've had chances twice now to put the belts on them, and they said no. So, I mean, I don't know if they think that way. And I do think if Umino wins, that would at least be an interesting story point. That Uemura lost in the final and he won the belt, even though everyone kind of thought he was the one, he was the weak link at first.
Mm.
But I mean, it's fine. I think it'll be a great match. Like one way or the other, I think Takeshita and Umino are going to have a really strong match.
Yes. Then we have the rematch of the great tag team title match from January 5 from New Year Dash this year. It was the main event match back then. Oscar and Yuto Ice defeated Zack Sabre Jr. and Roy Oiwa. We're having the rematch in the semi-main event position for Sakura Genesis. I kind of sense a title change coming here because much like Shota Umino, I think that Roy Oiwa needs something.
I do agree with that. I just think this is another situation where you had the chance before with the TMDK team.
I know.
And you said no. So we're going to do it at this less... like we're not going to do it in the main event. We're going to do it in the semi-main event. I mean, it's fine. Like, I mean, you gave them a couple extra months. And then what do you do with the Knockout Brothers? Then with the titles?
Yeah.
Or without the titles?
Without the titles, yes.
Yeah, if they are to lose.
It's always a key question when a tag team that is so successful, that is so unique like these two drop the titles. What do they do next? Especially with the Best of the Super Junior coming up. Probably not so many options for them to wrestle in higher positions. Yeah.
I suppose they could. Yeah.
But for either team, it's going to be difficult if they lose.
Yeah, but I think there's so much more with the brothers than like the TMDK. Like, yes, like Oi was good and they're a fine team and all that, but like Knockout Brothers have kind of been like game changer level for New Japan.
They have.
And the other two are like, Zach does nothing for me as any kind of important player. Like a great wrestler, but not somebody that needs to be pushed. And Oiwa, he hasn't blown me away. I do have to say. Like, it's not like I look at him and think, oh, they can't miss on him. Like, I think he's done good in the tag team. Their match together was good, too. Like, Oiwa versus Zach in the tournament. But if you want to push new guys, this would be a good way. Like you said, it gives him something, so it's not like it's a terrible idea. I just think there's more. Like, the other match, I think there's more to Umino as champion than Takeshita. And in this one, I think the Knockout Brothers, there's more to them as champion than the TMDK team. But it's not like
I agree.
It's not like I would hate it if they went. Like, I'd think, oh, this is a terrible decision. I wouldn't think that, but I do. That's just my point of view on it. At the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I think in their thinking, it could be time for a title change to have something different in the tag division.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They're not doing a great job of that with the Knockout Brothers as champion, considering all of their matches are rematches. Like, they ran out of teams with 3 tag teams.
Yes,
and this is the problem with them in general with the tag division. This was their chance to really kind of do what they're alluding to doing in the juniors right now. The Knockout Brothers coming in and winning the belts was their chance to set that up. Okay, we've got all new teams. Uemura and Umino, Zach and Oiwa, bring in some other teams around them and form a full division. And instead it's just like, oh, well, we've got Oiwa and Umino and Uemura, and we'll just throw them out there until we're done with this title reign. Yep. It's not a real division.
You know who would benefit greatly from being in a tag team would be Aaron Wolf, actually.
It would be so much better than what he's been doing, for sure. Anything would be better than what he's been doing, I think.
I mean, people have been telling me that it will work out.
No,
one way or another. But
who told you that?
People in the comments and my tweets have been saying that it will eventually work out with him defeating the House of Torture guys. He is so far into the storyline that his star level is getting lost along the way.
And that's what I warned after that Dome show. I said that. I said that this won't last forever. Like, this, judo hero stuff. Like, it's not going to. The fans aren't going to ride with that forever. And they've done everything they can to ruin his star power in the last 3 months.
Crazy. It's really something to study.
And I said it on the last episode. Well, you weren't gone, but I said it that of course I hated him losing to Fale. And we had a debate when they announced the cup. I was like, I think he'll probably lose to Shingo, and you were like, oh, I think he'll make it to face Uemura, and then Gato was like, you're both wrong. Like, he's not even going to get to Shingo. So of course I hated that, but now I'm at the point they can repeatedly booked him this way that I'm kind of over it. It's just like, yeah, they just don't see him that way. Like, this is who he is, like, jobber guy.
Obvious. Yeah.
But what about him and Bolton as a tag team? If they had said that together,
it would be perfect, actually.
Yeah, they feel like natural partners in a lot of ways. And Bolton's awesome. Like, his match was great against Uemura. So like you said, Aaron Wolf and the tag team, then that could have helped the whole division. That would have helped 3 different things all at once if you had done that. But again, I think like the tag division is so far a lost cause, like far more so than Wolf. And Wolf, as long as he's doing what he's doing, there's no real hope for it to be anything more than it is. Once he gets out of that, maybe they'll try and turn it around. But you should never have been in a position to turn it around with him in the first place. He should have been your top, one of your top stars, if not your top star. At this point, but never mind that. That's a whole different thing. Tag match should be good. Like, Knockout Brothers TMDK. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm a little bit more into the TV title match, but this should be good too.
Absolutely, yes. And then that leaves us with the main event, the winner of the New Japan Cup 2026, Callum Newman, has his second chance at the biggest gold in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Last time he challenged for it, it still was the world title. Now it's the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He goes against the champion Yota Tsuji, who makes his second defense of the title. And then, since you were a little hesitant to talk about who would be champion, are you expecting a title change here?
Absolutely not. Like,
okay.
There's no way. Like, I would be shocked. That's why I said the other one. Like, I didn't think there would be a title change of the top 2 matches. So I do think one of them should change just to not be boring.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess you could say the tag titles, but I don't think it'd be this one at all. Tsuji losing now would be a big mistake. It
would be a big mistake. No, I don't see Callum Newman winning this either. Him winning the New Japan Cup was a great deal. It was a great piece of business too for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It once again showed that this company is able to create stars. Yuya Uemura is a made man after that tournament as well. And him now going against Yotsuji, we've said it before, Callum Newman, this confidence that the company has put in him has real fire under this guy, and he's performing on a completely different level than he had been in his G1 performances that we criticized heavily back then. I think, and deservingly so, we said that he wasn't ready for the G1 climax, and most of his performances showed that as well. But now he definitely is a guy that is ready for these kind of roles, these kind of positions. And going against Yuya Tsuji should be a great match, actually.
Well, I mean, the tournament final was down from last year. To be fair, with Finlay in the final, it's not like it was this. They did run that same building 2 times in a row. To be fair, which makes it it's an easier pill to swallow. But I still wouldn't say it was like a great thing. I loved the angle. They should do this. I said this on either one of the weeklies or something on Patreon. But to me, Tanahashi should give the trophy to every tournament winner. Like that should be done forever. Mm-hmm. And eventually either a heel or he decks the other person. Like that's a great angle in the making there. Like, either a heel talks so much shit and acts so confident that Tanahashi's like, fuck you, and then knocks him out. Huge pop. Or like the bad guy could knock out Tanahashi, and that could set up an angle with a babyface. It's a great angle in the making if they do this. And they kind of alluded to that a little bit here with Newman saying like, I'm the new ace on there. So, they set it up pretty good. I love that part of it. And yeah, like we said, we like the match a lot in the final. Yeah, the thing is, kind of like I mentioned, remember when we were talking earlier about Arai in Tokyo Joshi Pro and how that match with Saki Akai and Meiko unlocked something in him, or in her? Mm-hmm. I think that with him, he had something unlocked in that Goto title challenge last year at Dontaku, where Cobb left, like that was the original plan, wouldn't have accomplished anything. Instead, they throw Newman in, knowing that it was going to be Naito's last match. It was going to draw no matter what. And they gave this guy a chance. And I was thinking, what? Like, when that got announced, I was like, Newman? And then he had a really strong performance in that match. And it feels like ever since then, this time in the G1, he did a lot better in 2025 than he did in 2024. We talked about how he did improve. And then throughout this New Japan Cup, he did. So we like his confidence. I like that people have been mentioning what I said too. The theme music is a big part of his presentation. Like, once they changed that, that really elevated him as a star to this new song and the way he carries himself walking out to the ring. That means a lot, and he did a great job with it. And the song is great too for him. But like, one of the best in recent memory by far. So he looks great. His wrestling has been good. I will say this. And we'll see, and to be fair, the buzz on this match, when it got announced that he won, especially on Japanese Twitter, was strong. Like, it was looking good online, yes. The buzz online. And my problem with him and how they've used him is, in every match of the tournament, I wrote a whole story on this in last week's EO Weekly, he had to cheat to win with Zane J, interference, distractions, whatever, in every single match, including against Hartley Jackson. Now, I feel like they're setting him up in a role that has not been successful. Like, to be another evil type heel, whether it's Evil himself, whether it was Jay White before him, even all the way back to Prince Devitt back then. They had one main event title match with him in Okada, and otherwise he was not a title shot contender, not a main event player. They're setting him up in a role that has historically not worked, actually, by being this cheating heel guy over and over. And I think that's failed enough times that they should want to get away from that, in my opinion. And it worries me that they're just kind of going to the same toolbox that they always go with him. And it's good that he's a fresh face, and his talent level is there, and he has improved mechanically for sure. But it worries me a bit that he's going to fall into that kind of role, where every single match he is like a circus match wrestler, where everybody has to run in. And I think that's not going to be successful in the long run if that is their plan for him. They should let him stand on his own 2 feet and have confidence in him to get it done on his own.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but this deal at least is very much more subtle than the House of Torture deal is. So I understand the criticism that he has to cheat to win. But ultimately, I think throughout the New Japan Cup, it has worked to get heat behind him, and it has worked enough to position him as a challenger for Yodatsuji that we don't expect that he wins, but the fact that he's cheating and that he's using the cheating to get where he wants to be creates a little bit of doubt, I think, in the minds of the fans that it might be working out for him here too.
And maybe so. I think like I said, I think, again, it's not just Evil. Yes, it's Lester than him, but it goes back to all of their main heels, like of the last 15 years, are kind of the same playbook. And I think that Devitt run might be more of the right way to go about that, where you build to one main event and then he's a mid-card guy, like, afterwards. But is that really what they want him to be? Just like so... Like, because like I said, all the other times they've done that, it hasn't worked out when they tried to push people higher. So I just think if they want him to be more, and they want the fans to give money drawing heat to him, they're going to have to make him at least someone worth believing in and watching on his own. But I mean, we'll see. I think it could work for this. Again, the buzz has been good for this, so, and we'll see. And we'll see. It might be a great. They might sell out the whole Ryogoku for all we know, or it might bomb. We don't really know, but we know that the fans are excited about it because it's somebody, and ultimately, it's just somebody new at the end of the day. Like, they want somebody new in, and they've got it. And another thing with him that we have to praise him for, they're asking him to make a big jump, True. 4 months ago, he was near the bottom of the rankings of a heavyweight in New Japan. He was mid-card at best. And now they're putting him as a top level guy, and he's handled it as best as he can. It's the booking that concerns me going forward.
I understand because it's it's the company, you know. We've been following along this company for a long time. We've seen patterns come and go. We've seen patterns stay around. That's New Japan Pro Wrestling for you. We'll see.
And that's true too.
Yeah. Well. All right. Then we go to the final topic of the show, Dylan, the All Japan portion of the show. Before we go to the Champion Carnival, Yuma Aoyagi has resurfaced now. He's had a couple of matches that made air. It's nothing outstanding so far. He's wrestling in the openers. I saw the match against Kofuji was fine. So he's back. Thankfully, he's back now. They also have a new rookie that is about to debut. It's Genki Hanawa. He's the son of a comedian, if I'm not mistaken. And
A musician / comedian who does a lot of commercial jingles.
Okay, yes, that is
and
it.
he's also a judoka and a former training partner of Aaron Wolf.
Right. I was about to quote here. He is 180 centimeters tall, 100 kilogram, with an extensive background in judo. He wants to pattern himself after Keiji Muto. That's what he had been telling the media. Yeah, that is the guy. And then we have, of course, the blocks and the lineups for the Champion Carnival, starting on April 12 and finishing up on May 17 in Ota City. Block A has Kento Miyahara, Go Shiozaki, Yuma Anzai, Rei Saito, Kuma Arashi, Talos, Odyssey, and Kengo Mashimo from 2AW. Block B has Jun Saito, Ren Ayabe, Hideki Suzuki, Yuki Honda, Daisuke Sekimoto, Cyrus, Zion, and Madoka Kikuta from Dragon Gate, who is still the Open the Dream Gate champion going into this tournament, I guess.
Unless he loses to Kai.
To Kai, yes. Yeah. That would be a decision, man.
You honestly, like, because of this tournament, you can't completely write it off, actually.
No.
And it should be a 0% chance. But, I mean, they're going to, we'll see how this booking goes. We're going to talk about this tournament in a second. But he is the Dream Gate champion, and that's worth considering.
Yeah. Who would travel to Dragon Gate to wrestle for the Dream Gate from this Block B?
Well, I mean, we'll have to see at the end of the day. We have to see about the last night of the tournament before I make any predictions.
Yeah, first of all, Dylan, what do you have to say about these two blocks?
I just think that they're really mid. This is about how I describe them. I think of the 2A is the better one. Well, first of all, you've got Anzai in there, which automatically is kind of like a cheat code.
And Kento.
And Go. I think like all three
and
of those
Mashimo.
people and Mashimo. Yeah, see that's a lot better block. I mean, and Talos is somebody I've been super impressed with on there as well. So
Kuma Arashi has been working hard as well.
I hated that.
The match wasn't good. No, the match wasn't good.
He doesn't have what it takes. Like that's all that match proved at the end of the day. Although I liked the story with Ashino coming out.
It was pretty good.
Everybody coming out. Yeah, like I said, the story was great. The match itself, he's still him at the end of the day. So, so at least 5 guys. Odyssey and Ray, like, hit or miss. We'll see if they can step up. And maybe Arashi, because he was doing good work before that match. If he could go in with like a Go and just have a hard-hitting match, I think that could work for sure.
Because the match that he had with Sekimoto was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. That was like the best run of his career. Like that month build-up to the Triple Crown match itself. And unfortunately, the end result didn't deliver, but it was good work leading into it. B Block, you've got Kakuta, who did a great job last year. Hideki, he can still be great, but there's a lot of times he's not in all Japan. Honda's good. Sekimoto's good.
Yeah.
Then you got Zion and Ayabe and Jun Saito and it's like the top half you could pull something out. The second half, and even for me, a Cyrus believer, I don't know if this is going to be the best look in this block. But yeah. Like I said, I just think A Block's a lot better. Like long story short of it.
Yeah, key about Madoka Kikuta's run last year was the Yuma Anzai match that was so great.
Yeah, we're not
He
gonna,
also, yeah, he also wrestled Aigle Blanc. He wrestled Mike DiVecchio, Ren Ayabe, and Ryukyu Honda. He's also going to wrestle these two again. But like I said, Key was the great Yuma Anzai match. I don't see
that was the
anyone in
best
this
match of the
block.
tournament.
Yeah, I don't see anyone in this block that could come even close to what Kikuta and Anzai had last year. Yeah, I mean with Zion and Cyrus and Jun Saito, there could be some rough singles matches there with these big guys.
Ayabe is overachieved with
Yeah.
the tag team with Talos. Maybe he could turn that into something here. I mean, I was really out on him for most of his career.
I mean,
again,
if not now, when is he
Yeah.
ever going to turn it around for him?
It's a good point. But this tag run has worked. Him as a singles.
Yes.
Now we see if any of that has he's taken to any of that more. But I do think he's going to be a main contender in this block, though. To be honest with you,
I'm very skeptical about this guy because.
Well, me too. Absolutely, me too. But yes,
we said it with Talos that Talos is the right guy for him to learn how to move and wrestle as a big guy. But you would think that he'd also take some of the mannerisms, some of the way that Talos carries himself to use it for himself, but he's still the old stoic dude that doesn't really show any emotions whatsoever. And I feel it's just hard for the live audience to connect to a guy that has so severe issues to showing emotions.
But Striga, what you're missing is a key point. He is tall. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
Yes.
No, but hey, to be fair though, in those tag matches when he hit that death roulette on Ray Saito, that's like his main weapon. Like that move looks awesome. Like it's so much better than Takeshita's version that he has pretty much. Like I do have to say, but yeah, him and again, I'm on your side, but I'm giving him some grace for this block to prove us wrong. Like I think there's a chance maybe he could carry something from this tag title reign into this block. Yeah. Again, I may be wrong. We may come on the show a month from now, and you're gonna say, "Dylan, what do you think about Ayabe?" And I'm gonna say, "Damn, what was I thinking?"
Damn.
But I'm gonna give him some grace. I think there's a chance, and like I said, I think he's gonna be motivated because I do think he's going to be positioned as a contender. He's going to be alive on the final night.
Good. Okay, let's do the Eastern Lariat special then. We're going to look at the first night of the tournament because there are some really cool matches that will be coming our way. Pretty fond of the
whole tournament, actually.
Daisuke Sekimoto versus Cyrus match that could be really fun.
That's
like you said, Ren Ayabe versus Jun Saito. Ayabe losing the death roulette would be the one to look forward to. Hideki Suzuki versus Zion, Talos versus Kengo Mashimo, Ray Saito versus Komarashi, and of course, Go Shiozaki versus Yuma Anzai. Champion Carnival Legacy match. That should be great.
Yeah, first time ever match. That was, if you ask me what match I'm most looking forward to in the tournament, that would be it, to be honest with you. And they're doing it on night one, so
and
that's great.
They're firing out of the cylinders in the first couple of days, because they have Go Shiozaki versus Yuma Anzai. Second night has Kento Miyahara versus Go Shiozaki. Third night has Kento Miyahara versus Yuma Anzai. So all of the big matches in the very first 3 shows.
Absolutely, and I hope Zion can deliver better against Suzuki than he did. Like last year's match was probably my least favorite of the whole tournament.
Was it the shoes? Yes, the shoes, man. Oh yeah.
Remember your boots, Zion. That's if you do that, I'm going to praise that match on some level. I promise you.
Yes. All right. So it used to be that they did individual block finals, didn't they, in the last couple of years?
Yeah. What happened to the semifinals?
Yeah, they don't have that. And we have we have 8 matches on the second to last show of the tournament on May 5 with Block A. Kento Miyahara versus Kengo Mashimo, Go Shiozaki versus Odyssey, Ray Saito versus Yuma Anzai, and Kuma Arashi versus Talos. So, out of block A, Dylan, who do you consider making it to the finals?
To be fair, on the schedule I'm having, it shows they are having semifinals.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay, I'm reading it from Prolove, and my colleague hasn't put that up. So I might be...
on Wikipedia, it shows the semifinals.
I'm on the All Japan website right now.
Let's see what it says.
Let's see. It doesn't say anything actually.
It's a mystery to us all, I suppose.
So the card doesn't stress that there is anything happening.
No. My hope is there is one though.
Why don't they have the lineups on their website? There's no lineups on the.
Oh, who released these lineups in the first place?
Oh, wait a second. I clicked on the wrong.
Oh,
clicked on the wrong link. There's, like I said, there's. I might find out when I go into the news, but continue talking.
Okay, well, it doesn't really matter anyway, because like eventually somebody's gonna have to win these blocks at the end of the day.
Yes.
So once we get to the May 5th show, that's where the finals of the block play takes place here.
Exactly.
And on each block we have to look at the matchups, and the first one is Rei Saito and Kengo Mashimo.
Right.
Here, yep. Rei Saito and Yuma Anzai. Excuse me. Kento and Kengo Mashimo on May 5th. Which is a great match I'm very happy with. Go faces Odyssey. Havoc implodes on the last night. Talos faces Kuma Arashi. And that's A block finals there. So any of those matchups stand out to you? Kengo and Kento and Anzai and Rei.
I think Go Shiozaki and Odyssey stands out to me. Because I can see them putting a lot behind Odyssey as the big monster in this block that could be maybe he's going undefeated until this point, and Go finally defeats him then to make it to the finals.
And I think, to me, traditional booking would be Odyssey knocks off Go to knock him out of the finals, if that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Odyssey's a lower ranked guy than Go, and this would be like him. That would be his final victory, basically, to beat Go. But Go, on paper, he should be a favorite to win the tournament. So we don't want him to go out in the last round. At the end of the day, Anzai and Rei, that's another one. Anzai would be another favorite, I would say. You could have him overcome last year's winner.
True.
And Kento and Mashimo could be a great match. I think that would be Mashimo knocking out Kento.
Yeah, that's always a great match.
And I think it makes sense for Kengo to win. And that could set up a Triple Crown match, too, in the future as well.
Yeah.
Who do you see Kento taking losses to?
Since I said that Odyssey could also be undefeated in his block, it could be Kento versus Odyssey for the Triple Crown down the line.
Okay. That's a good person to put over. I mean,
it's totally what they do right now. I mean, like you said, Ren Ayabe, he is tall. Odyssey, not so tall, but he's a big dude. That's what they're going for right now.
Havoc's really over. Like the fans love these guys. So building a block around Havoc makes sense for where they're at right now. Yeah, so I have Mashimo beat him. You don't want Anzai to beat him, in my opinion.
Not in the tournament block system, no.
Exactly. Go, I think, for sure is going to beat him. And get his win back on there.
Yep.
So, it's possible with Go and Mashimo, that's 2 losses. Can Go get... If he loses 2, he could still win the block in that formation. At the end of the day, if they wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. Or he could... Again, he could... In my way, maybe Odyssey could beat Go and knock him out. And that would move Anzai onto the final. Anzai beats Rei, Odyssey beats Go, and Mashimo beats Kento, and Kuma and Talos will beat Kuma, but it probably won't matter due to points. You could also set up some tag title matches with Ayabe and Talos too here.
Yeah, sure.
On there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's honestly A block's kind of a decent block. The more I look at it storyline wise and
Storyline wise,
wise,
it makes sense. But we think that Go Shiozaki's going through.
like I said, the way the booking looks, it just makes more sense to have him lose to Odyssey, in my opinion. But I like I said, on paper, if you looked at the names, I would have said he's the favorite to win, and I think he should. So maybe your idea plays out. Maybe Go and Odyssey go to a draw or something, and they go in. That would work too.
What about Anzai?
He would be the second favorite to me if Go doesn't move forward. Like my way of playing out moves Anzai on. Like Odyssey beats Go, Kengo beats Kento, Anzai beats Ray. Like and he moves to the finals. But
Anzai moves to the finals,
but I think Go would move to the finals though. Like I said, I still think Go should win this tournament with all things considered. But let's move on to B block.
I would agree. I was just going to say if Anzai moves to the finals, he wins and takes the title off Kento.
And that will happen eventually, like one way or the other. But I just think it would be better for Go to win it now. You don't know how many years he has a story that he's never won the Champion Carnival. Like, are you really that confident that he could be in position to have another good win next year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Block B, Hideki Suzuki versus Jun Saito. Yep. Ren Ayabe versus Madoka Kikuta. Ryukyo Honda versus Daisuke Sekimoto, and Cyrus versus Zion. Okay, that last match certainly is not anything that will be deciding.
Yeah, so Cyrus and Zion and Talos and Kuma, like they are going to be the least important matches on that show.
Yeah, that's right. Honda and Sekimoto, they are also not going to be in any contention. So we have the two left. It's Hideki and Jun Saito, and Ren Ayabe and Kikuta. And out of these matches, I'm looking at Ayabe versus Kikuta.
Yeah.
Mainly because, all things considered, if Kai is not winning the title, Kikuta is still Dragon Gate's main champion. So they would want him to be very strong in this tournament. And why not make it to the finals then?
Yeah, I think he's like a mortal luck, actually, to make the finals. Like, there's nobody here that would be better than him in the final.
Yeah. And actually, given his style, he could actually have a great match with Go Shiozaki in the final, if that's the way they go.
Yeah, that would be my prediction. Like, if I did. But again, like I said, the way they've laid out the final night makes me think maybe Anzai might be A block. And that would be a rematch of last year's great match with Kikuta and Anzai. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's impossible that Kikuta doesn't win the tournament, by the way. Like, I don't think that's completely out of the question. I still think Go is a heavy favorite, but he would be in my top three. It would be Go, Anzai, and Kikuta would be who I would look at. And if you did that, that solves all of... I mean, that sets into motion a lot of stuff that they probably didn't plan on at the start of the year. But, like I said, now we're kind of going out there because they don't have anything going on with their champion right now. Again, even on their big show this month, he's not even in the mix of anything. So let's say Kikuta wins the tournament. And his storyline after that is that he challenges Kento for Kobe World. Like title versus title. Now Kento would have to win the title at Kobe World, of course, for this to happen. But that would also be kind of good for DG if that happened. Like Kento is the DG champion? Like Dreamgate champion?
Yeah, but do you want to give away the title match if you're All Japan?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. I mean, I think if Kento wins the belt, that's the payoff, pretty much. Like for giving the belt up, you know, like we take your world title, we just give you the house for it, and then maybe we can use that on our shows later. Would be the plan. But I mean, again, this is like because I think Kikuta winning and then just losing to Kento, it's not great. like the opposite of that are like a lot worse. Actually, it makes. I mean, but in that case, you could argue the payoff is, well, he won the tournament, and then he had to lose to Kento afterwards.
Yeah. What about Kento Miyahara winning the tournament?
I think there are too many good other winners to do it.
I know.
But, I mean, you can never fully count out Kento. I just don't think, and especially him facing Mashima at the end. I think he's really unlikely. I would say.
Yeah. I would say the only scenario in which that makes sense is if Kento loses to Anzai in the blocks, but moves to the finals and wins it, and then calls out Anzai.
That could work. I mean, I'm all for Anzai getting the title back.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Like any way that happens, I'm probably going to be in favor of it. It doesn't feel like that right now, but it's at least an idea. What if he called out Katsuhiko Nakajima for it after he won the title or the tournament?
I consider that unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, if he's
But
gonna win, that's an option at least. It's not.
yeah.
It's not like
I say
Nakajima has anything better to do
I
right
say
now.
unlikely. It's not impossible. It's wrestling after all.
It's not like Nakajima has anything better to do going forward. I'd say it's just that they probably don't want him back. Is the problem? But yeah, like I said, I think it's okay if Kikuta does go to the final. Either of those matchups, I think, are pretty great. I personally would be surprised if it's anybody but Kikuta in B block. I suppose you could go all the way with Ayabe and like make that his kind of moment that he gets to the finals and puts over somebody. But I think Kikuta's a lot better choice overall. Maybe Hideki, like Hideki in the
Yes.
final could be good. Hideki and Go, that would be a great match.
Hideki in a final is always great.
Yeah, exactly. He pretty much is a lock to deliver, and he gets Anzai or Go. That would be a tremendous match. But yeah, it could go either way. Maybe they can even do some kind of storyline where, like, Kikuta puts the belt on the line in the final against somebody.
Yeah,
like if he does that, and that's kind of his win when he loses to Kento. Is that like, hey, I defended the belt, like here and beat so and so. But still, though, I think the most likely scenario is Go just wins the tournament. So even though the lineup is having me question that slightly, I do have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, what this all amounts to is that they certainly do have options in this tournament.
Yeah, true.
They have some really good storylines that they could develop throughout the tournament. And you know what's interesting too is that, of course, you would expect that they want Ren Ayabe to be a successful project for them. But then again, his tag team partner is positioned in a block where he faces Miyahara, Shiozaki, Anzai, and Mashimo. That's much more high profile than the wrestlers that Red Ayabe are facing. So after all, it could be Talos' tournament.
I love Talos. I think he's done a fantastic job, and I think he's going to have a good tournament. I don't think it's impossible he doesn't get a win over Kento.
Yep. I mean, he
already lost.
Title match. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a win back type of deal.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it actually.
Yeah, I get that there. But I do think his losses should set up tag title shots too.
Yes,
on there.
That's right.
So I can see Odyssey beating Talos on there. Ray will get his win back over him too.
Mm-hmm.
June will beat Ayabe.
Yeah, they did some singles matches on this stretch of shows that they did last weekend that go directly into the Champion Carnival.
And that was a great piece of booking. Like I love that. Like they had them win in the tag title match, and then they did the singles matches. They were like, nope, like we are pushing the Titans. Like we're not letting the Saitos win. We're pushing the Titans right now. And they had them win both singles matches. I thought that was great booking. Honestly, I thought the matches were pretty good too. Like I thought they did it, like especially for Saito singles match standards. I thought they did, and even Ayabe singles match standards. I thought they over delivered from my expectations.
Individually, the matches were good, but to me, they were too similar.
True.
And they
good point.
Were on the same show, so it didn't really work out for me. But I get what you're saying.
I had low expectations for that Red June match, man. But no, like but I like now that we've talked about this tournament, I'm so glad we did this breakdown because when these blocks got announced, all I saw were people saying how much this tournament sucked on paper. But the more we've dug into this, I actually kind of like it. Like, and not to say that there aren't weak points, especially in B block.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it. Like, they have a lot of options, like you said, and potential to spin stuff off from this tournament in multiple ways, whether it's the Dream Gate, the tag teams. Like, they've got a full division, unlike we talked about in New Japan. I don't mind this tournament on paper, man. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, that has been the rule for the last couple of years for the Champion Carnival. And actually, in the last 2 years, the tournament has not been really good, except for a few matches.
True.
Let's hope that this one matches our excitement level now that we've done the digging here. I'm at least hopeful for some of the matches that we have here on paper that they could really deliver big. And hopefully for All Japan, this is a way to turn around their public image that they have had in the last couple of months. Hopefully they are coming into some smoother waters.
Well, nothing's bad happens. Nothing's bad has happened lately, right?
No, but it's
In months.
Yeah, not in months. Yeah, nothing bad has happened in months, but this is far from being a hot company.
It did get bad for a while there, and I do agree with what you said for sure that it's not a hot company. But I mean, that show on March 20th where they had Kento Akuma, that was a good, like, that worked. Like, ultimately, again, I didn't like the match, but it did draw.
Yep, it did.
Yeah. And Kento's such a safe bet as the champion.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you know, they have a high floor with him as champion.
That's right. All right, Dylan. Then I guess this concludes our roundup for Japanese Pro Wrestling. I want to add one thing. I missed 2 matches on the Sendai Girls show that have been announced, of course. Dylan, how could I miss that this match has been announced? It's a hardcore match between Dashi Sako and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan.
It's better we pretend that match wasn't announced. I would argue.
But the one match that has been set up, of course, on the shows that we discussed was Shiro Hashimoto versus Shuri.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a fantastic match.
Yes. Yeah. So that's happening on the April 12th Sendai Girls Korakuen show. I
wonder if that sets up anything for All-Star Grand Queendom too, because Shuri doesn't have anything going on yet.
That's right.
Maybe they could spin off as some kind of tag, maybe after that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm interested, but that match is going to be fantastic on its own for sure. Like you said, I really agree with what you said earlier. Hashimoto, in my opinion, is like top tier of pro wrestler right now in terms of in-ring. Like you said, if you said Sorry was the best, I wouldn't argue with you. But I think if I had to like put my vote in for the best pure wrestler right now, Hash would probably be who I would look at first, actually.
I would agree with that, yeah. Yep.
But yeah.
Good stuff here, Dylan. Yeah, it was good getting back in the mix with you, discussing all these companies. And we'll be looking when we can do a next recording. We'll see. My vacation just started, but I'm coming off of a very, very long stretch of very stressful work. So we'll see when we get back in the mix again.
Well, if anybody wants to check out the Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat. I always have weeklies. This week's going to be a little bit late. I had a bunch of stuff to do Monday, but I'm going to have a full story on Kazusada Higuchi, who retired, is retiring coming up soon. So I'll talk about his fantastic career.
Man, Kazusada Higuchi. Yeah. I mean, you could see it coming with the way that he has been off the shows.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, yeah, I don't know how to phrase it. This guy has been one of my absolute favorite wrestlers, like I said it in my tweet. The moment he debuted back in DNA, I fell in love with this dude, with the wrestling he had, with the finishing move he had, with the sumo background he had. He was just my dude. And the best moment in DDT for a long time was him waving the DDT flag after winning the KOD Openweight title. It was so. I felt so connected to DDT like never before, never again, with him being on top of the company. And I know that it didn't really work out with him on top, but him on top was always my favorite time. But whatever he did in this company, he was just always good in any role that they put him in, whether it was a tag team, whether it was as the main champion, whether it was in the 6-man with Harimao or with Eruption back then, or in the comedy roles. He was great in any role that they put him in. It's really sad that he has to leave wrestling behind with this situation that his body is in, but it's for the best for him to continue his life as best as he can now. We have the memories of 10 years of Higuchi in DDT. It's so again, it's so sad that we have never seen an outside run. We've never seen him in for example, the Champion Carnival, right? That would have been great. I remember that back in the day when he debuted for DDT, I was thinking, how is a guy like Higuchi debuting for DDT and not for a company like New Japan Pro Wrestling or All Japan, where he would have been much more of a natural fit given his size and body type. But his goofiness, Dylan, showed that he was very much suited in DDT.
He did have that run in the Global League in 2018.
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm.
In a good era for Noah, too.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of good matches like Go back then and stuff. So, Higuchi was a great wrestler. Everybody knows that. Like I said, I want to write a lot about him in the article, the newsletter this week. But I think that he's a guy that every time he was put, like what you said was so right. Every position he was put in, whether it was a tag team or a singles, I think he really delivered big over. And I think Eruption was like very over with a lot of online fans specifically in the West. And he's done a lot of great things since. I loved his match versus Yuji Hino. I think is one of the best in DDT in like the past decade, even.
Yeah.
Him and Takeshita had an incredible match for the title a few years ago as well, and even with the pandemic era and stuff like that, like he really rocked it. Like he did the best he could in every single thing. But one thing I'll say is it's very sad that somebody is having his career ended due to injury, especially at a relatively young age. He's not like a rookie or anything, but it felt like he had a lot of gas in the tank from a performance standpoint, of course. So it sucks to lose him, but I am happy that he can walk out on his own terms, pretty much. And he basically just said, like, look, I could go out and risk this, no, like I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to risk my neck, even just to do a retirement match. Like he's not even going to do that. He's saying, look, we'll do a ceremony, and then I'm out. I'm not doing this bumping stuff anymore. So I'm happy that he got to walk out on his own 2 feet, and hopefully he can just live a very healthy life. And as with all wrestlers, I will never rule out a return someday.
Exactly.
Like to be honest, I actually think he probably will do another match eventually. But the way this injury sounded,
DDT is really perfect for it because even if he can't do a proper match, he can still like do a Sasadango match or something like that.
Yeah, or wrestle Yoshihiko. It's a special match, something like that. Just throw him around all over the place. So like. I think the way the injury sounded, a sustained run, that's probably not going to happen. But I'm sure, even if he doesn't wrestle, to be honest, even if he just shows up, I think it'll always be fun to see him and good to see him. Like I said, I do. There is an alternative universe where I would have liked to have seen that Higuchi and Noah run that everyone fantasized about, or All Japan or anywhere, like a more straightforward company suitable to his style of wrestling. I would have loved to have seen that, and I think he would have been great at it. But, he made the choice to be here, did a lot of great things in his own right, and got to be a part of a company that he fell in love with too. So, big props to Kazusada Higuchi, and I just hope he lives a great, healthy life going forward.
Absolutely. So, this is a great end to this podcast. Thank you all for listening. This has been the Eastern Lariat. Goodbye.
Sayonara.